Hello crafters, I'm JanB and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Today I'm going to show you how I made this card. Opens like that. I received a card like this as a swap when I was on the incentive trip to the Greek islands, and I thought it was absolutely amazing. It was this card here. If you saw the video of all my swaps, you'll have seen this already. Okay, I was just absolutely wowed by this. I thought it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I did think that maybe she had bleached that bit, but I've tried it and she hasn't. So I'm going to have to look a bit further on what technique she's used there. But it's just absolutely brilliant. Obviously there's no name on it. I have seen a video which has something similar to this, but this bit here comes down as just one single bit with this, and that just lifts. And that video was called a double front fold, so I'm calling mine a double front flap fold. Okay, but whatever it is, it's a really lovely fancy fold. So I'm going to do Magnolia Lane, or Good Morning Magnolia design again. I'm just going to change my colour scheme. So I'm going to tell you, first of all, what colour pieces you're going to... Oh dear, getting tongue-tied. It's because I'm really excited, because tomorrow I go and collect my wedding rings at long last. Well, tomorrow, that means if you're watching this on Sunday, it'll be yesterday for you, because it's Friday today. So I'm a little bit excited, shall we say, at the moment. So let me tell you the card pieces you're going to need. Okay, so instead of the Mossy Meadow, I'm using Petal Pink. So this piece measures 4¼ inches by 11½ inches, which is 10.8 by 29.2 centimetres. Then you need a piece of Whisper White, which measures 4 inches by 5½ inches, which is 10.2 by 14 centimetres. Then you need 2 pieces of Whisper White, which measure 2 5/8 inches by 4 inches, which is 6.7 by 10.2 centimetres. Then you need a piece of Designer Series paper, and this is the design I'm using this time, which measures 3 7/8 inches by 5 3/8 inches, which is 9.9 by 13.7 centimetres. And then a piece of Designer Series paper for the front, and I'm going to be using this design. This measures 2½ inches by 3 7/8 inches, which is 6.4 by 9.9 centimetres. And then you need a piece of Petal Pink, which measures 2 3/8 inches by 3 3/4 inches, which is 6.1 by 9.6 centimetres. And you need a piece of Whisper White, ideally that you have die cut using a number 4 stitched rectangle die. That's from this set here, it's the 4th one in, but let's get that out now. So that's that one there. Okay, it's the regular size ones, not the skinny ones. I'm also going to need that as well. Okay, if you don't have these dies, first of all, I really recommend that you get them because they're a great set. If you don't, then you need to cut a piece that's 2¼ inches by 3 5/8 inches, which is 5.8 by 9.3. And what you're looking for is for that to fit onto that with a nice gap all the way around. Then you need another piece of, well, let's do another piece of this first. This is the same size as this one. Okay, and I've done it with a stitched rectangle. And then the piece underneath, you need it to be a tad over 2¼ inches by 3 5/8 inches, which is 5.8 by 9.3. And what you're aiming for is, first of all, for that to fit on there and to get a very small gap around it. Let me just, I don't know, oh yes, you can see that, can't you? Okay, that's that bit in there where you can see just a very tiny outline on there. But the main thing that you've got to do is, with these two, you've got to have one that is smaller than the other. Okay, can you see that? Yeah, you can. Alright, and the reason you're going to have one that's smaller than the other is because the bigger one will be there, the smaller one will be there, and this has been designed so that when this comes down it will cover up that completely. You don't want these to be the same size because it would be a bit of a nightmare of a job to try and get it covered up. Okay, I will put all these measurements in the box below the video. The other thing is, with the one that I can't give you precise measurements for, you may decide to do what Jo did with her card. She used this same die that I have for this one. That's where she's done that one there, and she put black behind it. But on the one there, she didn't put any kind of backing on it, and you may decide to do that as the same. So if you have this one, so you've got the white with a nice gap round it, that'll be for the front, but on the back you might decide just to go for the white. It shows up really nicely. If you use this design, it doesn't particularly need this extra bit, so you wouldn't spoil your card by leaving it out. Okay, so I hope I've explained that without confusing you. You would also need a scrap of Whisper White for 3 flowers, and also for that sentiment as well. That sentiment you could stamp straight onto this white piece, but I thought it looked rather nice to have the stitching around it and also to pop it up on dimensionals like these are. But as always, it's your choice, which you think looks better, what makes you happy. Right, so to start with, I think if we do the basic putting the card together, so we will need this, these two, this, and this we need to do some scoring on. Okay, so I'm going to use my scoreboard. Oh, I've done it again, haven't I? I've forgotten to work out the measurements for the centimetres for the dies. Can I work that out easily? Let me have a look. That's plus 6. So it'll be 7.3. And it's half of that one. So that would be 14.5, 14.6. Where's that one? .673. Right, okay. So let me make sure I've got this in screen. First of all, you need to score at 2 7/8 inches, which is 7.3 centimetres, and then at 5 3/4 inches, which is 14.6 centimetres. Okay, that's all you need to do. So move that out of the way. I have been told a couple of times recently that I sometimes mumble, so you can't hear what I say. So I am trying really hard to make sure that doesn't happen. So first of all, let's fold this in half, line the sides up as always, and a nice score. And then this one fold in towards the centre. Again, score, no, not score, burnish it nice and firmly, so you finish up with that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do this bit here, and today I've decided I'm using Tombow for my adhesive. Normally the larger pieces, recently I've been using my tear and tape. But I'm really pleased to say that Tombow has now passed the regulations that it has to be allowed into Europe. So it's back orderable now. Right. Okay. So that's that one. And now let's do this one. There we go. I can hear hubby's just come home from work. I've nearly finished using my entire packet of this. Good morning. No, it's Magnolia Lane, I think, the designer series paper. The only one I haven't used is the black one, which is the one that's on the reverse of that. Which surprises me a bit because I love designs like that. But I mean, I don't like black colours, my clothes. But for designs on designer series paper, I think it's really striking. Just pop that one in the middle. This one I leave blank for the greeting. I think that's a bit of glue there. Yep, that's gone. And then this one, I am going to change one thing. It's a bit of an experiment. It might not work, so I am prepared to carry on as normal. And that is on the front, where the sentiment and the flowers are. I'm planning to, the white at the back, the larger piece of white, I'm planning to emboss it. I'll just put that down and I'll show you exactly what piece I mean. That piece there, I'm going to emboss. I've brought over the Subtles embossing folder. As you know, I don't really like large areas of plain white. I could have found some kind of a background stamp, like we've got a textured textiles or something. I could have used that. But I do like all the white, as long as it's not plain white. Okay, so that's that. So that goes together really well, doesn't it? So the next bit we're going to do, I think we've prepared the flowers and then the sentiment and that one. Okay, let's do the stamping first. So I am sorry, but with the stamp sets, I have used 3 here. The Good Morning Magnolia has got some really lovely expressions, sentiments on it. I'll look as if I'm missing got that one. What's that one there? Right, okay, so that's Good Morning Magnolia, and I'm going to be using that one there. Okay. In fact, that one I haven't used for a card yet. I was playing with it this afternoon. What I did was I stamped it on crumb cake and I painted it with bleach because that's what I thought Jo had done. But she hasn't because my magnolias have gone yellow. But it's a beautiful stamp set. Jo has used these. On the front she did thanks, which is in that one there. And then inside she said, not only for what you do, but for being someone so special. which is lovely if you want to send a card with that sentiment on it. But I do tend to stick to birthday greetings on mine. So this one here, Enjoy Your Special Day, is from Stitched All Round. Okay, it's that one. And The Birthday Cheer to You All Year is that one, and it's from Parcels and Petals. Right, let me leave that in front of me so I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to do that big one first, which is that. I'm going to bring some scrap paper over. When I do my sentiments onto something that is already die cut, ready to go, I like to stamp my stamp onto a piece of scrap paper so that I know whether I've got to put my stamp down straight or not. And this one, I think I can put it down straight. I can actually see a straight line there. Oops. Yep, that's good. The rest of them, it doesn't matter. That was the only reason I brought that over. Right, so let's make sure that's nice and straight. Let's do it in the centre as well, which I think must be about there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, that's good. What did I do? Oh, kept it to the edge, didn't I? Hopefully I'm not getting my head. I'm not sure that was straight actually. Oh, maybe it was. Yes, that's good. So that's that one dealt with. And now it's all going to be scraps. I've already done 2 of my flowers, so I only need to do 1 now. That's good. Get these stamps out of the way. I'm using Memento ink. You could use Stays On, whichever you prefer. Memento is because I'm using blends to colour this, and you do need to use Memento, but for the sentiment you could use Stays On. But I do really just prefer Memento if I've got a choice. That's it. So that's all the stamping I need to do. Let's put the lid back on. And to colour this, I am using the light and dark Petal Pink, light and dark Mossy Meadow, and the dark Soft Suede. I did try the light one first, but I decided that I wasn't so keen on that. It was just too light. Okay, so that's the dark Soft Suede. Now I'm using the light Mossy Meadow. Using blends is so much easier if you've got nice thick outlines. Well, I suppose any painting is, or colouring, but particularly these, because I feel that they spread a bit on the paper. Right, so just put some highlights in here with some dark Mossy Meadow. And then go over that again with the light, just to blend it in. There we go, so that's the green. got little light bits at the ends and on that one there. Right, now with the light Petal Pink, oops, not that end, that's better. I am just sort of colouring like about half of these petals. Nothing particularly fussy. And then with the darker Petal Pink, I'm just doing about half of where I've gone with the light Petal Pink. Little bits there. Can you see what I've done there? I've just done the light. The light's about halfway up, but then the dark is half of the light. And I've done little bits in the others as well. Now I'm going to blend that in with the light again. I'm not going all over, just going over the dark bits and a little bit further up. And then that is that. So I'll show you the other ones that I've done. They all look different. But what I did was I had a look on the actual Magnolias, excuse me, on the designer series paper, and I took my lead from there. Oh, I did 4. Right, okay, so I die cut that and die cut that. The only tricky bit of this, making this card, is how you get this flap attached so it does actually come over there. But no worries, I have it sussed for you. One of these I was going to dry emboss, wasn't I? It was that one. I've already got another plain one here, so if this doesn't work, I go back to the plain one. Let's get my big shot first. The independent screen that I've got in front of me, it's gone all very funny, and I've got all like silver all over everything, but the screen on my camcorder looks perfectly okay. I hope it's coming through okay. I think you'll still be able to see what I'm doing if it doesn't, but it just looks funny. Right, I'm going to do this embossing first because I'm going to spray it, and the embossing folder, no prizes for guessing which one I'm using because it's the one I use most, and it's subtle. Okay, so where's my water spray? I know I brought it over, it's here. Okay, I can't obviously do this in front of you, so if you listen very carefully you should hear a tss, tss as I spray. I'll do one on front and one on back. Oop, missed. That's better. That's good. Okay, so that was 3 sprays. So that's the front and that's the front, so face it that way. Do I want the stripes going down or across? Down, I think. So let's line it up there. I love having that line on there. It does make lining up so much easier. Right, okay, so what am I using for this? I am using my regular Big Shot platform. I'm putting my embossing folder in with the fold going in first, and then one cutting mat. And there we go. as suspected, it gets rid of some of the stitching. In fact, I don't know whether I'm going to use that or not. What I'll do is when I get to that stage, we can both look at that together to see what we think. Right, so we finished with that. We haven't finished with this, but, oops, we have finished with those. If I bring my magnetic board back, crikey, getting noisy. So there's that. Obviously you're going to have 3 of the flowers. The die I am using is from Magnolia Memory. If you buy the set of dies and the Good Morning Magnolia stamp sets at the same time, you will save 10% on the individual prices. And these dies here, they cut all of these out, so that's the large stamp, and these are leaves, flowers, and that will cut that one out. That will cut that out of a piece of paper. If you want it as an individual like that, you need to put that over that one. But very good set. So that's going to go on there. And these are Stampin' Up dies, and I think they are so much nicer from the point of view that as you get them lined up, you just make sure that you don't have any white bits showing around there, and then once you've done it, the white edging that you get is even all the way around. Right, so I'm going to do this one as well. That fits absolutely beautifully. So let's put that through. I really like all these stitched dies. Really think they're beautiful. There we go. See what I mean about all the white is even all the way round? Isn't that super? Right, let's get rid of this. Of course, I brought this over because I said I was going to need it, but I don't, do I? Because I've already die cut my squares, oblongs rather. Right, put myself back. Am I looking all right? I think so. Right, okay. So, got that one, that one. Right, so that's my plain one and that's my embossed one. So I'm going to pop that up on dimensionals, or pop it up on dimensionals, and then it's going to have flowers either side. So which do we feel looks best? Oh, that's going to have some that under there as well. Okay. Okay, so you can see the embossing on that. Okay, hold that in mind. So this is the plain one with the 2 flowers and that. What do you reckon? I think I might stick to this actually. I like this, but I'm going to stick to this one. If I had stayed with the other one, it would have meant that the pearls that I put on here, our gold metallic pearls, I would have had to have either gone without, assuming that the embossing would have been enough of a design, or had I decided I wanted to put them on, I would have put them on with a tiny amount of Tombow, and I would have done that because that's bumpy because of the embossing. Right, so let's have Tombow back to put this on. Tweezers. Oh, here we go. As usual, right under my nose. Okay, so this is the one that it's really very tight. There we go, that's fine. So let's put this one on. Now this should have a nice little edge. There we go. Right, first things first, we're going to put this one on here. So when you've got your two bits like that, just flip it over so you've got the wrong side facing you, and get yourself a pencil. Position this on your card and make it so that that gap is the same as that gap, and that gap is the same as that. I eyeball it, I don't make it exactly equal. Now what you need to do next is to find out where you're going to put your glue, is if you put a little pencil mark where the edge of your designer series paper is, and where your designer series paper comes to an end there. I don't recommend you go any further because you've got a slight step down there and you've got a bigger step further down from there. You could also use tear and tape if you wanted to on here. Now I am keeping Tombow just a bit below where I've done my pencil marks. Making sure I don't go too close to the edge, and don't put on too much so that it starts oozing out. So now I'm going to pop this back on again. I've also got a ruler here so I can have a quick measure to make sure that this is straight. Because it's always that much more difficult when I can't get my head right over things. So that is more or less spot on to 2. Yes, beautiful. Okay, so if I look over there, there shouldn't be any glue. There you go, nice and clean. Right, so the next one, we want to do this so that it's down there and not being seen. So what I do is, this one I found easiest to do with tear and tape. And what I did with this, well, first of all, let me tell you, you could put Tombow on here and do it this way. What you've got to remember is this one here is very slightly smaller than that one there. So if you lined it up, and I've got a pencil mark on there, that's irritating me. There we go. Right, so yes, if you've got Tombow on that way, if you just line that up so you can see a gap all the way round. Okay. The reason I don't is because if you've got Tombow on this, you can only sort of hold it like this, but then you would need to just fold it over and clip it down. Okay. Which is the way I did it the first time, and it was the occasion I thought, no, I don't like that idea at all. So I thought, no, what I'll do is I will do it the same way that I do my layers normally. Whichever way you do it, you've got to hold on to it to swivel it round. The alternative, of course, is to put this piece down first. Right, okay. So this is going to be going like that. So I need it to go up that way. So what I'm going to do, in fact that never works easily, does it? So take that one right off. Lift that one and just pull it down a little way. Okay, you don't need it to come all the way. The other thing that you could try if you wanted to is you could put some removable adhesive on there. So once you've done that, you can... Should I try that? I did think about it, which is why it's sitting here. If I put it on there and then position this, okay, now this is obviously a lot easier. In fact, I could take all of that off, but imagine that I haven't got that there. So what you would do is, you've got it like that, you would bring it over and then press that bit down. Obviously you can see how much easier it is if you've got removable tape there. Yeah. It's not removable tape, is it? What do we call it? Repositionable. Okay, so I'm going to hold this flat for you to see, because if I hold it like that, open and close it, it doesn't look as if I've done it very well. But if you look at it like that, you can't see the underneath one at all. Okay, so what I do to finish this one off now, in fact, I don't look as if I brought that down straight. Now, have I? Look, it's not straight at all. Now we're on a wing and a prayer, aren't we? Now if you pull this really slowly, you should be able to pull it up without doing too much damage. In fact, it's actually leaving the tape behind. Well, that's a result, isn't it? Wow, look at that. Well, that's even easier, because that means I've only got to put this back on there then. So, what I didn't say to you was, when you put that on there, make sure you've got it straight all the way down. I'm not going to rely on getting that down that way. I'm going back this way. Okay. Now that does look straight. That one's straight, isn't it? I can't work out why one is coming over crooked. Unless that one's crooked. No, it's not. That's exactly the same positioning. That DSP is in proportion, is just as level with that, so it's not that that's doing it. Oops, 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 oops. Right. Okay. Straight, straight. And I couldn't have moved it last time because I was using the removable tape, wasn't I? Right. Pull that one out. I think that's straight now. You've probably got a better view than me because you're looking straight down on it. I'll measure it again in a moment. Still looks a bit wonky to me. Right, let's try. It is wonky. Can you see that that's wonky? It's this bit here that does. Well, never mind, I'm going to carry on now. If I'm lucky, it's only me. So this one here I glued on. When you do this, if you choose a different sentiment and different embellishments, do remember that you don't let anything come off of here, okay, because you will see it round here, which is why I brought my sentiment this side, so that if my flower goes off, it doesn't matter. Okay, so there's that one. Okay, now this one I'm going to be doing with dimensionals. That one I'm going to use 5 small ones. I have a masculine card like this that I've made that I'll show you. Right, that is just going straight in the centre. Well, in the centre, I don't know about straight. Yep, I think that's alright. And then these ones, I did use some big ones, but I wasn't very happy. And the other thing is to remember, where you're going to put these on, you're not going to need dimensionals everywhere. Right, so how did I do this? Let me bring them back. Okay. Yeah, that one's wrong. Right. Now these can go off the edge, that's alright. So the only bit I don't want it on is that leaf, and don't come to the ends here. That was close. So not that one there. I don't worry about gluing that bit down, but if it bothers you, by all means. That was lucky, that one's right close to the edge. Right, now this one. The only thing that I'm really looking for is to make sure it doesn't cover up any of the writing. So really it's just down that section there. So not down there. No, that might be too close. In fact, what I'll do, I won't put any more on, and I'll show you how to get the extras in. Okay. So I tend to slide this up to see how far the dimensionals are underneath there. Okay. So that's that done. Let me just get rid of these irritating little things. Now, if you press on here and you find there's bits that don't have enough, what I tend to do is I get myself another dimensional and just lift it up, especially if you haven't glued this bit down, and then I just put it by the side of the sentiment. Let's have one more, shall we? Because I only put 4 on that one, didn't I? That's it. I'll do the same for this. When you're actually doing this kind of thing, and it's just for the support rather than the adhesion, you don't need to take the backing off, you can just slide it under there. As long as one side, well, one side is obviously going to be off, isn't it? Where was I going to put that one? Under there, wasn't it? There we go. That's better, that feels nice. Okay, so all that's left for me to do is to put the pearls on, and what I've used for those are the metallic pearls. They come in gold or silver. You don't get them both in one pack. Yes, you do. I thought I'd put that one in there, but no. I have been quite generous with the pearls on here, but I always feel that if I care enough about somebody to send them a card, they're worth it. Oh, come on. Otherwise I'm going to leave you and do you off screen. There we go. And I did 2 on this one. To the bottom. And 3 down here. Gold goes quite well with this colouring. Although I'm not really a gold person, much prefer silver. There we go. And that's today's card. But before I go, I'm going to show you the masculine card that I've done. I've been on a self-inflicted challenge this week to do masculine cards. So there we go. I've used Come Sailing, and you open up. Same sentiment on the inside, but that one was from another stamp set, which is called yes, it was from Wiggle Worm. It's that one there. Okay, so there we go. It works just as well for men as it does ladies. Hope you enjoyed it. Many thanks for joining me today. If you have any questions or any comments to make, please leave them in the box below the video. I always like to read your feedback and I will always answer your questions. If you would like to purchase any of the products that I featured here today, please click on the link that you'll find in the box below the video. Also in the box down there I will put all the measurements and all the products that I've used, as well as a link to my shop. And finally, if you've enjoyed watching this video and you'd like to be notified each time I upload a new one, please click on the subscribe button down in the right hand corner there, and click on the bell to say you'd like notifications. Many thanks for joining me today. Until next time, happy crafting. Cheerio.